Hey, it's Tim from AK Endless Sports Cards. Well, I am coming off of about a week and a half vacation, and I did a lot of buying over break. I did a bunch of selling over break, and kind of continue on with that process of consolidating. I sold a bunch of like lower end Luca rookies and some other stuff with the idea that I'll take those proceeds and buy some bigger cards. And so I'm kind of wanting to downsize in a way, but then I also went out and bought some retail wax. I had to try some Prism Monopolies. I had a couple box break. I ended up breaking like 13 of those. Didn't get anything big. Pulled 3 Wembanyama Monopoly rookies. Got some other, decent base rookies and stuff, but literally nothing else big. No big color parallels or anything like that. So kind of disappointing, but I took my shot. Cracked 13 of those Prism Monopoly blasters that I was fortunate enough to find, and I had a lot of fun ripping them, but just not any big hits for me. So not all of them are winners. When people are posting box breaks and they're getting these big Wembanyama's, not all of them are like that. But I did have a lot of fun. In addition, I even cracked a box of Upper Deck Series 2 hockey. I opened up a mega box to see if I could pull Connor Bedard Young Guns. I did pull 3 Young Guns, but not Connor Bedard. I'm not going to buy any more of those. I'm not a hockey collector. I just thought it was fun. It'd be kind of a fun chase to see if I was able to get one. So wasn't able to do so. Some of these larger cards that I ended up buying, I'm waiting on. And so I'm going to make a separate video for that when those come in. I only have one in so far, so I'm just going to kind of wait till those other come in. A couple things that I've noticed. The biggest thing is that the gap between BGS and PSA in many cases just keeps getting wider and wider. I mean, this is a really, really big gap. It's getting to the point where certain cards, you can buy 3 Gem Mint BGS cards for the price of 1 PSA 10. And to me, when a gap gets that wide, especially when you're talking about like older label BGS, I tend to go BGS in that situation. They always say that the old saying goes, buy the card, not the grade. I do believe in that in a lot of cases. And so I kind of ran into that over break, and so I'll share that with you when that card comes in. With that said, PSA grading has been in the news lately. The Prism Black Victor Wembanyama 101 was pulled. There was a video of a card shop owner and the guy who pulled it at PSA headquarters getting it graded. It got a PSA 10. It was like, wow, that's just an incredible card. Congratulations, that's amazing. And then they shouted out Kurt's Card Care. So I watched a whole bunch of videos after this with people saying, well, I don't know. PSA is kind of in a gray area here. Do they allow this? Do they not? No, they don't allow substances on cards. They don't allow wax on cards. They don't allow you to spray chemicals on cards. There's no gray area. They don't allow it. I just think it's so funny that all of a sudden it's basically like, well, PSA needs, they need to put out a statement and really say where they stand. It's been like that for years and years, as long as I can remember, that they don't allow those things. When I submit cards, even through my group subber, they talk about, substances on cards and stuff like that. It's not allowed. I just think it's so interesting because it's like, if you're adding wax to cards, if you're spraying them with chemicals and wiping them down, if you're removing scratches, if you're doing all that kind of stuff, if you don't think you're altering cards, then why is it that you're doing those things? What's the purpose? If you're not actually altering the card from the way it was out of the pack, then what is it that you're doing? What's the purpose, if not to alter the card? That's the question that I think people should be asking themselves. I just don't even see it as being an argument. Here's the thing, though. I will side with some of the things said on some other sports card YouTube channels in that PSA does, however, need to get better at detecting these substances, because if you're not going to allow them, then you're going to have to get better at detecting them, because what's going to stop people from doing it? My concern as a collector is if I bought a higher end card, for me, higher end card, $300, $400, $500. That's not a cheap card. I know some people higher end, it's in the thousands, and I get it, no judgment. But for an average collector, a card that's a few $100, it's a big card. My concern would be that if I bought one of these doctored or altered cards, and yes, if you're putting wax on them and spraying chemicals on them, you are altering and doctoring cards. I don't really think there's an argument there. You may argue, but there really isn't. my concern would be, does that do damage to the card over the long term? I don't know. Maybe it doesn't, but maybe it does. And PSA, if they're not going to allow it, which they don't allow it, by the way, they need to step up their game to be able to detect those things and reject those cards. To me, it's just that simple. So just wanted to kind of put that out there, and that I think there's no gray area. It's just something that's not allowed. With that said, a lot of people are saying that PSA is grading harsh right now. I have not found that to be true. I just submitted an order, and all the cards but one came back 10s, and I'm going to show you those in just a minute. I just think you got to look really close at your cards. You got to know what you're sending in. So I'm going to show you those 8 cards that I got back, and then also the stack of cards that I'm going to be sending in on my next PSA order, and then we will call it a video. I think I'm about to set an all-time record for the longest period of time that I've left up a Christmas tree. You can see the reflection off the table. Yep, still up and loving it. So let's start with this reveal. First things first, the one miss. Topps Now, Victor Wembanyama draft, PSA 9. I did think that I thought one of these were going to get a 9 and one was going to be a 10, and that was spot on. There was a touch of wear on a corner. Might have been this one up here. But that got a 9. Okay. The second one that I sent in, though, did not. Got a 10. Same card. Got a 10. Now, I did a video on this when I was opening these. I tried to buy a quantity lot of these direct from Topps, and I accidentally bought the whole, like, top 10 or the top draft pick set instead of getting all Victors. So I've only ended up with a couple of those total, and one gem. This was the Topps Now, where Wemby threw out the first pitch. PSA 10. Kind of a cool card. These ones aren't very high end. You know, they're 30 to 50, 60 bucks. Bought this one raw, paid about 10 bucks. It seems to me like these Prism draft picks, Wembanyama's could grade pretty well if you find centered copies. This was the better centered out of the couple that I had. It's a touch off left to right, but not much. Surface is super, super clean. And this got a 10 also. You know, this is a $90 or $100 card. Last I checked anyway. Kind of a cool card. Hoops. Okay, so I bought like 10 or more of these Hoops cards, and this was the cleanest. All of them have little like surface marks. They're hard to explain. They're little tiny marks. So I only sent in one. This was the cleanest. It still had a couple of them on the back, if I remember correctly. But otherwise, it was a clean card, and it did get a PSA 10. So that came back with a good grade. This card, I knew, I was 100% certain that it was going to get a 10. I would have been absolutely shocked if it didn't. This is an Amen Thompson silver. Prism silver, PSA 10. This card was perfect. I could see no flaws in it. So I would have been really surprised if this was anything else but a 10. It's just one of those cards that you, I actually pulled that one. You pull it and it's just like, wow, this card just looks amazing. I think it's dropped since I had sent it in. It's still like, you know, $100, $125 card. It was up to like $175, $200, but that's okay. It's really young. He's got a pretty bright future, so I might hang on to it. I might sell it, not really sure. Next card is a 2023 Prism Draft. Bucelis, Blue Ice, in a PSA 10. Bought this card raw for $5. Bought it at a trade night. It's numbered to 99. Looks really clean. The only concern that I had about this card was the centering. It's a little OC, left to right if I remember correctly. Overall though, really nice card. Surface is super clean, so not surprised that it got a 10. And then the biggest card, I bought this card raw for $40. Looked it over, it looked really good. And it got a PSA 10. That is the Prism Draft Wembanyama Silver. Again, I bought this for $40 raw. Paid about $20 to get it graded. It got a gem 10. Super pumped about this one. Surface was immaculate on this. I mean, it was just great. The one issue was this corner, if you don't look at it close, it looks like there's a touch of wear on it. It's actually not a touch. It's actually just like almost like extra paper. And in my experience, I've had a bunch of 10s with that extra paper on it. And so I sent it in thinking that it's possible that it would get a 9, but a good chance it'd get a 10, and it got a 10. So at one point, these were like $300. They've dropped some. I want to say they're around 200 or maybe up to, you know, between 200 and 250, somewhere around there. Just a cool card. And again, I've only bought it for $40 and $20 to grade it. So good potential return there if I do decide to sell it. I haven't really decided yet. Okay, with that said, so that's my grading order. 7 out of 8 were 10s. Some of the things that I'm prepping for my next PSA order. Let's kind of rapid fire go through here. I think I'd shown a couple of these before. I still got to look some of these things over. So I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to send all of these. But these are the ones that are coming down to. I think I showed these in a previous video. I got to look these over a little bit closer, but probably going to send these. I've also been buying a bunch of these Wembanyama Monopoly cards that are from the starter packs. So when you buy the board game comes with one of these starter packs, and there's a Wembanyama in every one of them. So I actually bought a couple of these starter packs unopened as well. So I bought a few of these. A lot of them seem to have either centering issues or like a soft corner. But I got a handful of them here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, I got 6 of them here so far. I got a couple more coming too. So I'm gonna look at these really close. If I got some that I think have a chance at a 10, I'll probably send them in. Most of the ones that I've looked at that I have thus far, though, look like they're gonna probably be 9s. Caitlin Clark, that's a card I pulled. That one looks pretty good. It's a 9 or a 10, probably. I got a couple Wembanyama Monopolies. I got 2 of them in here that I pulled. One looks like probably a 9. The other one looks like a 10. So I got a couple of those. And then I am going to send in the Mize Superfractor. I threw it on the bay for a while. Didn't get any offers that I liked, so I'm going to go ahead and grade it. It looks like it's probably going to be a 10. So I'll probably send that in also. So that's my grade and reveal, and that's a stack of some of the things that I'm looking to send in. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, if you'd like and subscribe, that would be great. And remember that the opportunities for collecting sports cards are endless.